Hello and welcome to another episode of the MenswearStyle Podcast. I'm your host, Peter Brooker. On this episode, I'm going to talk to Claudio D'Amore, the founder of CODE41. CODE41 was created by a Swiss watch design workshop founded by Claudio D'Amore. In a little over 12 years, the workshop had the honour of working with around 40 watchmaking brands, including Tag Heuer, Parmigiani, Montblanc, Oris, Eberhard and Hortlands. In 2016, 889 founding members joined the adventure by financing the project through a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter. They share everything, the origin and costs of parts, development and strategy, as well as the ups and downs of a startup. They address sensitive subjects like overseas production, inflated prices, and the grey market and distribution networks. And you can find out more about CODE41 through their website, code41watches.com. And here is Claudio D'Amore to tell the story.
I'm based in Switzerland, so we are a Swiss watch brand. Myself, I was trained as a designer, product designer, but quite quickly I turned to design mostly watches. And then in 2016, I launched my own brand, which is called CODE41. And CODE41 is a bit different than the usual watch brand because we work mainly on internet. But what makes it special is because we decided to go in total transparency. So meaning we explain everything about the origin, about the cost. And also we share all the process, so the community we have can participate to all the design process and the strategy also. So we share the steps for a new project, and each month there is one new chapter until we get to the prototypes and then the pre-orders. So people can really be in the journey with us to develop the watch.
Fascinating. And can you just take us back to the beginning and talk a little bit about the Kickstarter campaign? Because I guess around about 5 years ago, it was quite a popular thing for watch brands especially. What was it that was different about your campaign that you think captured people's imagination?
I think this is really this process of participating to the development of the watch and of the company. Because we didn't just came to the campaign, the Kickstarter campaign with the product, but 9 months before that, we were already sharing all the story about what we wanted to do. And people, basically, they build everything with us until the campaign started. So this is where we are special, is because it's not just a watch they bought, it's a watch that they participated creating. And this is what made the difference from the Kickstarter campaign, but also what is important, because usually when you make a Kickstarter campaign, it's very difficult for brands to continue on the years after that to develop a real business.
Right.
And I think this is where we are successful, because we did the campaign, but then the big challenge was to continue 4 or 5 years after that. And we succeeded by still working on this communication story and sharing everything with the community. And also, of course, developing projects which are watchmaking, but very focused on high quality products. We don't want just to create one more round watch, as you always see on this campaign. We wanted to create something very special. So we developed our own movements, mechanical. It's Swiss made, but really Swiss made. Like we have it's not the label. It's really made in Switzerland for the movement that we made for ourselves. And all this made that we grow very well on these last years.
Interesting. And so you, before launching this brand, worked with many different watch companies, designing different designs and kind of products with other brands. What were the cherries that you took from that life, that past existence, into CODE41?
Yes, before, from 2005, I launched a design studio, and I was working with the most of the Swiss brands for designing different type of watches. So of course it's you can understand how it works usually. So it was interesting to see that most of the projects were made out of briefings, a briefing that was looking at the past and at competitors. So it was always very conservative. And this, I think, is the problem for the Swiss watchmaking, because they don't take enough risk. So it has always been a bit boring. And I think what was interesting when I launched my own brand was to say, okay, if I want to do watches, I just want to do something that is special, and that is not just looking backwards and saying, okay, this worked for others, so I'm going to do the same. And this is, I think, where there is space for creativity in watchmaking, and it's very important to do it. This is what I learned most. Just go out of what is made by others.
Also, so you've launched the Kickstarter campaign. It's been a terrific success. What were your goals for the campaign, and did it not just hit the mark, it went above and beyond, right?
Yes, I mean, of course, when you launch a Kickstarter campaign, when you have no background, you never know exactly where you go. But we were really happy to see that people that followed us for 9 months on the development of the products and the brand followed us when it was the moment to pay for the watch. So this was a good surprise, and so it was really a good kickstart, as to start this business and then build on what we learned for not only the campaign but the 9 months that were before the campaign.
Yeah. And you said that people can be involved with the journey and the design process. Were they able to put any input into the design themselves?
Yes, of course. That's the goal of every project. At the time, we really started with to show one first design, and from there, then people say, okay, I like this, I don't like that. We made vote, right. And slowly we improved the design until the end when we got the prototypes. And this is still something we do. I mean, when we have a new project, we maybe have 2 or 3 different ideas of projects. Like it could be a chronograph, it could be a tourbillon, whatever. First, we ask, okay, what shall we do next? And then when we have a good feedback from the community about what kind of project, we start first design, then feedbacks, we modify, we make colors, research, and each time people can vote and comment.
Right. And that's pretty unique, isn't it? Because not only are you, like you say, involving people within the narrative of the watch and the journey, but you're also kind of designing for a customer that is going to be there at the end. So you're not going to launch a product completely blank, or it's a bit like, I guess, making a film, not knowing what the audience are going to think and just releasing it and hoping people are going to like it, versus having a lot of people involved in the production and going, well, where do you think this should go? And then when you release the film, it's going to be, at least it's going to hit the audience in the right marks at the right times. Yes,
but it's true. I think it's a big problem today of whatever brand produces products. It could be not only in watchmaking. Usually, you go blind, and also you think it's important just to keep everything secret. So you develop in your own studio, and then you make prototypes. And when you are ready, then you make a launch of the product, and you pray that what you produced will be sold. I think we do everything the opposite, which is more logical. Of course, first we share the story with people, so we know that when they are involved in the story, that we are quite correct in terms of what we are creating. And then, even that, when we are ready with prototypes and products, we make. Still now, it's not through Kickstarter, but we made through our website. We make pre-orders. So we don't produce watches before they are sold. So we make pre-orders for 30 days, and then we see how many pieces they've been sold, and we launch the production afterwards. So, of course, they need to wait a few months before receiving the watch. But overall, I think people are ready just to wait and to get excited about waiting for the little present. And plus, we we created something special, because when you buy the watch and you need to wait, there is maybe 6 to 9 months to wait. Then we here again share the production steps every month. They get an update on with videos or photos or interviews of the watchmaker. So they are producing the watch with us. It's like they come with us to the suppliers to see the progress of the watch.
Nice.
And people love this. It's not that they buy a product anymore; they buy a journey. I think it's more a journey than a product.
People just like to have the stories to tell about garments. I mean, I'm massively into films and kind of watches that appear in films and costumes, etc. And some costumes, I mean, if you were just to hold them up or wear them, then they're obviously just another bit of clothing or maybe just another watch. But to say that it's from a certain film, or a certain actor might have worn the watch, somehow ameliorates whatever it is, because there's a story behind it. And I think people just really like the stories behind the things that they wear, as opposed to maybe just a label or a brand, if that makes any sense.
Yes, yeah. I agree. And I think it's worse for every other product, so not only watches, but I think people, I mean, of course, it has to be, you're not going to do this with everyday, I mean, little objects. But when you talk about watches, something that has emotional attached to it, I think it's important that people can be part of the product and say to friends, I participated to create the watch. I voted for this crown, to these pushers. And it feels much more powerful than just selling a product.
And I think that looking at the website, and the watches on the website, people can find, by the way, CODE41watches.com. It's almost like the watch has a reflection of the brand's ethos, because it's very transparent in the way that you can see the entire exoskeleton and the workings of the watch. Can you just talk a little bit about that, please, and some of the inspirations of the design from your part?
Yes, I mean, I've always loved the mechanical part of the watchmaking, and I was a bit frustrated also with the projects I had as a designer, because most of the time you have quite boring watches where you have a plain dial where the mechanical is hidden. And I wanted to create watches where you can see the mechanical, because it's so magical to see these wheels, these engineered pieces. And usually people love all these, this magical part of the watch, which is most of the time hidden. So that's why on our watches we have made movements where you have no dial, like the X41 watch, for example. So it's skeleton. You can see everything inside. You can really sometimes stay 5 minutes, 10 minutes just looking at every components moving. And it's not about reading time. We don't need mechanical watches to read time. It's absolutely not.
We got the sun in the sky, and we got our iPhones, and that's all we need.
Yeah, of course. I mean, mechanical watches, they are not here to show time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because they are. Yeah, a microwave would be much more precise than a mechanical watch.
Crazy,
so
right?
It's not. It's just an excuse to say, okay, I buy a product, but it's more like a jewelry. It's the only jewelry for men, I think. That really you can. People get passionate about it.
Yeah.
So
and build a collection as well. Do you have a collection brewing yourself?
I have a few watches, of course. Yeah, and I think it's. I'm not collectioner, but I like nice products, so it's also part of the game to get some nice watches and to.
Yeah, I've got a collection of very, very cheap watches.
Well, that's good also.
I mean, my caveat is that I'm passionate about watches, but I don't have the budget as I'd like to have the aspirational watches, I should say.
Yeah, it gets very quickly very high. But this is also another aspect of what we are trying to do. Of course, we cut the middleman, but what we propose, like we are launching in a few days now the chronograph that we made, and it's very again a movement that we created from not from scratch, because of course there is a base that we modified, but it's our whole movement that nobody else can do the same. We have a rotating peripheral weight that is on the dial, which is very rare. And of course, we are going to propose it around 3,000 euro, which usually it's something more like 25,000. Usually it gets very high. So the goal is also just to be transparent, to explain what it costs, to explain how much we will need to make it worth doing for us. I mean, that is, how do you say, rentable in French, you say, but that you can say, okay, we need this margin to
make it worth our time, worth our while.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it. So there is no marketing positioning where we say, okay, this is a chronograph. We can sell it 20,000, so we sell it there. No, we are really close to our community and say we are fighting to get the best price, and then we explain the price to you, and you can get it very affordable. And it's of course it's not the goal to do affordable watches, but just
a bit more accessible, right? Yeah,
accessible, but just it's not the goal to just make margins because we could sell it higher. We just want to say, okay, we fight together to get the best watch. We fight for the good prices because also we try to make bigger volumes, and then we propose very high-end watches where people could not usually, they dream about these watches for other brands, but they can get them with our concept.
And it's really interesting as well. People can go on the website, like I did earlier, to have a look at the weight that you were talking about. So this weight where it kind of goes up and down on the periphery of the dial case, whereas previously it would be like a complete half moon, wouldn't it, across the watch that you'd need to have something like that. So it would kind of defeat the point. It would block out all of what you wanted to see. But now that it's entirely exposed, because that's just now going around like the rim of the watch, which is quite fascinating. Have I got that right? Is this the X41 that's coming out, or is that?
No, X41. So this was the very skeleton watch that came out 2 years ago.
And the new one that's coming out, sorry.
It's NB24. NB24. And it's going to be a chronograph, but as also X41 has also this peripheral weight. But this time on the chronograph, we made peripheral weight, but on the dial side.
Right. Okay.
Which you can see, it's good because it's nice because you don't need to turn around your watch to see this. You can see it from the front view.
Yes. Yeah. And then you can just throw your wrist and just show it to people. You don't have to take the
exactly.
watch off. Nice.
It's exactly for that.
And so, can you just talk us through what the origin of the costs are, the development and the strategy, and kind of the markups? I know people would be interested in how much it costs versus how much it costs them to buy as well. So
usually, when you have a standard distribution with the distributor and retailers, the markups will be about 6 times the production cost. From our side, since we cut the middleman and everything, we on the chronograph that we will launch on the 27th, it's going to be a markup of 2.3. So now I don't have the numbers exactly, but I think it's around 1,500 euro production cost, where the movement actually is the biggest part, of course, which is manufacture movement, and it's going to be around 1,000 euro. Right. And when you apply a 2.3 multiplicator, then it gets to around 3,000 euro. 3,500 euro.
Okay. And there's a waiting list for this one as well, I presume?
On this one, it's going to be the first launch. So we didn't open a waiting list. Basically, we open a waiting list for second edition, third edition, after the first project has been launched. On this one is really the first, we call it the creator edition.
Right.
Because basically people that will buy a watch on this campaign, they will be creators of the project. So it's a creator edition, and they get a number watch with the creator edition written on it.
Nice.
They become creators of the watch, and they get some privilege for our next project. So it's very important to launch this. The first campaign is always launching the project. It could be also that we don't have enough orders, and then the project doesn't go into production. That's right. The whole principle of the concept. If there is enough, then we produce. If not, we don't produce it. So basically, for this one, we should have at least 300 pieces to decide to produce it.
Great. Well, I'm very excited to learn about the new launch. I can't wait for it to come out. And it's on the 27th of this month. So potentially by the time people hear this, you'll have to go and rush over to the website, which is code41watches.com. And also, if you want to have a look at the journey, don't forget to pop over to Instagram. It's code41watches over on the Instagram channel there.
Just saying also that the campaign's got, it's on 30 days. So, of course, there is usually the first hours are very hectic because people there get crazy about really going on in the first watches, because there is also a delivery deadline that will be shorter. There is batches. We cannot produce every watches in one go, so that's why people they get crazy on the first hours.
I see. Right.
Yeah, it's sometimes it makes the servers crash. Sorry.
Oh, no.
And we had some problems with servers that crashing in the few hours because too many people were connected together. So now we try to increase the server that we can avoid these kind of problems, but we had some troubles in the
last
in the
thing
past.
you want. Well, Claudio, I'm really excited for you, mate. Congratulations on getting the brand to where it is today. I think the watches look terrific.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Claudio, and thank you for tuning into this episode of the Menswear Style Podcast. If you like what you hear, why not leave a review? It does help our egos. Don't forget to check out the show notes for this episode and all content pertaining to fashion, watches, travel and lifestyle over at www.menswearstyle.co.uk, and we're on the social at menswearstyle. If you want to be a guest on the show and tell us about your brand and your journey, you can email us here at info@menswearstyle.co.uk.